Hello everyone, back with yet another Julia Donaldson story, The Smartest Giant in Town. Julia Donaldson seems to be the favorite of most of the kids. The stories are very cute and wonderful, and the illustrations, I don't have to say anything about them. They are just loved by the kids. Look at George here. George was a giant, the scruffiest giant in the town. Scruffiest is someone who's very shabby and dirty looking. He always wore the same pair of old brown sandals and the same old patched up gown. Look at the patched up gown here. I wish I wasn't the scruffiest giant in the town, he said sadly. But one day, George noticed a new shop. It was full of smart clothes. So he bought a smart shirt, a smart pair of trousers, a smart belt, a smart strappy tie, some smart socks with the diamonds up the sides, and a pair of smart shiny shoes. Now I am the smartest giant in the town. George left his old clothes behind in the shop. He was about to go home when he heard a sound. On the pavement stood a giraffe who was sniffing sadly. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's my neck," said the giraffe. "It's so very long and so very cold. I wish I had a long warm scarf." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off his strappy tie. "It didn't match my socks anyway," he said, and he wound it round and round the giraffe's neck. It made a wonderful scarf. "Thank you," said the giraffe. As George strode towards his home, he sang to himself, "My tie is a scarf for the cold giraffe, but look me up and down. I am the smartest giant in the town." George came to a river. On the boat stood a goat who was bleating loudly. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's my sail. It blew away in the storm. I wish I had a strong new sail for my boat." "Oh, cheer up," said George, and he took off his new white shirt. "It came coming untucked anyway," he said as he tied it to the mast of the goat's boat. It made a magnificent sail. Can you all see the sail to the boat? "Thank you," said the goat. George strode, singing to himself, "My tie is a scarf for the cold giraffe, my shirt's on a boat as a sail for the goat, but look me up and down, I am the smartest giant in the town." George came to a tiny ruined house. Beside the house stood a white mouse with lots of baby mice. They were all squeaking. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's our house," squeaked the mother mouse. "It burnt down and now we have nowhere to live. I wish we had a nice little house." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off one of his shiny shoes. "It was giving me blisters anyway," he said as the mouse and the baby scrambled inside. The shoe made a perfect home for them. "Thank you," they squeaked. George had to hop along the road now, and he didn't mind. As he hopped, he sang to himself, "My tie is a scarf for the cold giraffe, my shirt's on a boat as a sail for the goat, my shoe is a house for the little white mouse, but look me up and down, I am the smartest giant in the town." George came to a campsite. Beside a tent stood a fox who was crying. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's my sleeping bag. I dropped it in a puddle. I wish I had a warm, dry sleeping bag." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off one of his socks with diamonds up the sides. "It was tickling my toes anyway," he said as the fox snuggled into it. It made him a very fine sleeping bag. "Thank you," said the fox. George hopped on, singing to himself, "My tie is a scarf for the cold giraffe, my shirt's on a boat as a sail for the goat, my shoe is a house for the little white mouse, one of my socks is a bed for a fox, but look me up and down, I am the smartest giant in the town." George came to a big squelchy bog. Besides the bog stood a dog who was howling. "What's the matter?" asked George. "It's my bog," said the dog. "I need to get across, but I keep getting stuck in the mud. I wish there was a safe, dry path." "Cheer up," said George, and he took off his smart new belt. "It was squashing my tummy anyway," he said as he laid it down over the bog. It made an excellent path. "Thank you," said the dog. The wind started to blow, but George didn't mind. He hopped on, singing to himself. Look how happily he's singing to himself, hopping. My tie is a scarf for the cold giraffe. My shirt's on a boat as a sail for the goat. My shoe is a house for the little white mouse. One of my socks is a bed for a fox. My belt helped a dog who's crossing a bog. But my trousers are falling down. I am the coldest giant in the town. Suddenly George felt sad and shivery and not at all smart. He stood on one foot and thought, I'll have to go back to the shop to buy some more new clothes. He decided. He turned around and hopped all the way to the shop. But till he reached there, it was closed. Oh no, said George. He sank down onto the doorstep and tear ran down his nose. He felt as sad as all the animals that he had met on his way home. Then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw a bag with something familiar poking out. Can you all see the bag here and something familiar poking out? My gown, he yelled. My dear old gown and sandals. George put them on and he felt wonderfully comfortable. I am the coziest giant in the town, he cried, and he danced the way back home along the road. What happened when he reached home? Outside his front door stood all the animals that he had helped. They were carrying an enormous present because George was a giant. So they have to give something very big for the giant to feel that he has got a gift. Come on, George, open it. George untied the ribbon. Inside was a beautiful golden paper crown. Can you all see the crown that George is wearing? And a card. Look inside the card, George, said the animals. George put the crown on his head and opened the card. It said, you gave your scarf to the cold giraffe. Your shirt's on a boat as a sail for the goat. Your shoe is a house for the little white mouse. One of your socks is a bed for the fox. Your belt helped a dog who was crossing a bog. So here is a very fine crown to go with the sandals and the gown of the kindest giant in the town. Thank you everyone for listening to this cute story. Do subscribe to my YouTube channel and to get notifications regarding the other storytelling sessions. I hope you all liked the book. Thank you.